Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Today, we're going to be talking about men having to take control of the situation. Let me tell you, women are not taking control of the dating scenarios, the pregnancy scenarios, the motherhood, fatherhood situation. Too many young guys are being told, "Hey, cowboy, go ahead and blast away. I'm on birth control. Everything's fine." And then all of a sudden, oopsie doopsie, they're dads. And right now, the single mother / fatherless home thing is through the roof. And so men are going to have to take control of this. Now, you can wear a Jimmy hat. You can wear prophylactic. You can wear a little rubber. Or you can get the snip. And they are coming out eventually with male birth control, from my understanding, but they're dragging their feet because, number one, it has hormonal issues with men. And number two, women do not want to take this control away from men. Women want the control of procreation. They do not want men to have control. Why? No more baby trapping, no more getting the child support, no more having the kid that they want with a guy they don't want. In other words, if he's tall, dark, and handsome and broke, they still want to have the baby with that guy, but then they want to go find Mr. Beta Bucks to take care of them. So, guys, you've got to take control of this situation. And I'm going to reference here an Evie article. And this is from Evie saying the talk every mother needs to have with her son, and it's not the one you're thinking of. Yeah, it's not about the birds and the bees. It's about basically making sure that guys aren't getting trapped. And I did a video on this like about a year or 18 months ago. But the reason why I'm bringing this up again is because a lot of people don't go back and look at my old videos. And it was a video very similar to this one about the baby trap. But things continue to get worse. Like, guys continue to get trapped in this. And this is an 18-year-plus thing that you're going to have to deal with if you actually, you want to take those extra 3 seconds because it feels a little bit better. Instead of the pull, pray, and spray, you decide to leave the water hose in the garden a little too long. So they say many girls and young women have more serious talks to worry about. They're often worried about guys becoming overly aggressive on a date, becoming teenage mothers, but boys have an equivalent issue that deserves its own talk to avoid immeasurable trauma and lifelong pain. They need a how to never get trapped by a pregnancy talk. And gentlemen, this is the discussion we're having today, because I know a lot of you don't have necessarily this talk with anybody. They say trapping a man is openly accepted by women. You know why I like Evie? Because they actually will word things correctly. They actually come from a normal, healthy place, which is it is not stunning and brave. It is not cool. It is not funny. That they know it is acceptable to trap a guy. And they also know that it's wrong. We know that it's wrong, because guys really don't get any say in the journey from conception to wherever it goes. Men don't get a say. You don't get a say. You don't get to say whether she has it or not. You don't get to say whether it goes up for adoption or not. You don't get to say whether she deletes it or not. Miraculously, the moment after you leave a deposit in the bank, you are out of the loop. And if she decides, hey, you know what, I do want to keep it and you're going to pay for it, you have no choices. You have no recourse. So they say, we've all heard jokes about man traps. It seems cartoonish and absurd to imagine that anyone would believe that a pregnancy could actually fix or encourage a relationship that isn't working. Unfortunately, the ugly truth is that many women, they say most women, I don't know if it's most or many, but women shrug it off or excuse this behavior, and boys and young men need to be aware of that. Both my sister and I experienced this firsthand when we reached adulthood. When I hit a snag in a long-term relationship, an aunt straight up told me, just get pregnant. That'll make him commit. Yeah, nothing like trying to make a guy commit over a kid when he wouldn't commit to the woman anyway. And there are a lot of guys that will say, hey, I was told if I need to man up. I'm one of them. My father told me, hey, if you ever get a woman in a motherly way, you better do the right thing, which means marry her and make an honest woman out of her, even if I was trapped. My dad had very old-fashioned beliefs, but I'm telling you guys now, Like, it's not like guys are not sticking around. Guys are just deciding, hey, you know what? I make minimum wage. I go ahead and sue me for child support. I can't pay for it anyway. I can't pay for it. And the thing is that it can and will, in many cases, ruin your life. I had a friend that deleted himself over child support because they kept asking and getting and kept asking and getting more, to the point where half or 2/3 of his check before taxes went to her. Then after they took out taxes and everything else, he literally had nothing left, not enough to survive off of. So he had to get ended up having to get a job under the table that the government didn't know about, and they couldn't take it. So, you know, it can drive men to end themselves. If you haven't seen the movie, The Red Pill, the documentary, I'd suggest go watching that. There are a lot of guys that either ended themselves over child support or ended themselves because they didn't have the ability to even love and be with their own children because of vindictive women. And if a woman would get pregnant just to try to keep you around, she's pretty selfish to begin with, and she certainly doesn't care about you. They continue on, I laugh this off, but when my sister got engaged and her fiance pushed their wedding off for 7 long years, every woman we knew encouraged her to stop taking her birth control pills. Every woman they knew. That's a lot of women. Friends, coworkers, family members, even his own mother told her to go off the pill without his knowledge. These women varied in age, race, religion, and in income level. It seemed as if all the families we knew secretly thought this was actually acceptable behavior. They continue on, but why? It seems so deceitful and irresponsible in black and white. The number one reason women admit doing this is because they're afraid the man they love will leave them. Instead of questioning whether a man who won't commit is truly the right one for them, they lie and they get pregnant on the sly. Where I think you notice this most of all would be if a woman is with a guy that has a much higher value social or a much higher social value than she has. In other words, if a 6 or a 7 is with an 8 or a 9 or a 10, he's higher. She definitely wants to stay with him. He's maybe having some fun, or he's not ready to be in a serious committed relationship long term. And he's told, in some cases, not all, but he'll tell the girl, hey, I'm not into this for the long haul. I'm not into getting married. I just want a casual. And the woman says, okay, hoping that he will fall for her. And then he doesn't fall for her. And she gets the inkling he might bounce. And so she decides to baby trap him to keep the desirable man with her. This happens. It is a thing. And that's something else that I worked as a network engineer. Yeah, I worked with a lot of guys that made 6 figures, good 6 figures. And these are kind of a little bit nerdy, a little bit awkward. Not all of them, some of them. Other guys were, hey, your traditional Chad dude bro, but they went into network engineering and were making good money. And there we heard a lot of stories, and me personally, I've heard a lot of stories firsthand of guys being like, man, she was on the pill and this happened and oopsie doopsie, and now I got to do the right thing. Or now she gets to say, I don't want to marry you, but I still want the kid. And also I want child support from a guy that makes 6 figures a year. That's a good chunk of income. And even if you don't make good money now, if you make, as over the years go by, if you start making more money, she can always, in many cases, take you back to court and get the child income or the child's support, get that upped based on how much money you make. But it never very rarely does it go down to where if you lose your job, well, don't worry about paying it till you get a job again. That doesn't happen. It's a one-way increasing street. She says what's worse is if their partner uses prophylactics, the old-fashioned tactic of poking holes in it isn't the only way some women can trap guys. There have been actual situations where women have said to take the baby juice out of it after the sex. This is done using a turkey baster and insertion to get pregnant. That's why I always tell you guys, make sure to flush them. Like, use it and then flush it. I know it's not great for the plumbing. If you don't have plumbing that can take it, okay, then take it out, go underneath the sink, put some hydrogen peroxide, some bleach, something in that thing, and kill the DNA. You got to protect yourself, I'm telling you. She said it would be hilarious if it weren't a reality. Thankfully, this isn't often attempted or successful, but it's such a breach of trust and a violation of a man's reproductive rights that some men compare it to the women getting taken advantage of by a guy forcefully. The struggle snuggle, as I like to call it. It may be less violent, yet the after effects can lead to lifelong poverty, depression, and even self-deletion. This especially concerns me since I have 2 sons of my own. I'm determined to drill it into them that although they want to have sex as they mature, women who want to sleep with them without commitment are also dangerous and need to be avoided. They say consent, child support, and self-deletion. After the Also Me movement exploded, concerns about the consent have been openly discussed and addressed. So why isn't the issue of pregnancy trapping been exposed or condemned? I'll tell you why, because no one's fighting for it. Men fight for it, but then the women just say, oh, that's men trying to be cheap and not be good, not only be financially responsible, but these are the irresponsible ghost dads. These are the guys that don't want to hang around. There's a lot of guys that want to hang around, and they're not able to because the woman decides, I get more child support or I get to keep him around in my kid's life. I'll take the more child support. I'll raise him on my own, which has gotten us to where we are societally today. It's in a lot of hot water. She says if we're honestly going to fully explore reproductive rights and reproductive health, then women need to speak out against this behavior instead of keeping it hush-hush. Exactly. But they won't because it advantages them. They don't, what should happen is a woman should say, hey, do you want to be a dad? And if the guy says yes, they get to be a dad. And if the guy says no, but I don't want you to get rid of it, I want you to have it, but I don't want to be a dad, then he can be financially responsible. And if the guy says, no, I don't want to be a dad, I think you should get rid of it, put it up for adoption or get rid of it or whatever. I do not want to be involved. And the woman determines to keep it anyway. There's a good case for her to say, okay, then she's going to have to swing that alone. She's going to have to go at it alone. And for everybody that would scream out there, oh, no, that's not fair. Well, why does the guy have literally zero say in it? When in reality, much of the time, either the woman's birth control failed or she failed to use it properly or she didn't use it at all and trapped the guy. I think I did a video on this where there's between 13 and 15 options of birth control for women. When I was married, my ex and I, she took the pill, but we also had, there was a gel, the spermicide, that she would inject as well. Those 2 forms. There's multiple forms if women really didn't want to. But guys, if she says, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it, I'm on the pill, you cannot believe that anymore. And all you have to do is look at the single mother statistics to prove my point, that you can't believe them. And this is on top of the hundreds of thousands of babies that are deleted every year. If they weren't deleted, I swear single motherhood would be like 95%. They say whether her intentions were good or not, she brought a child into the world without his consent, and now he has to pay for it, literally and figuratively. It has not helped his mental issues, but only added to them, because now he has the conflicting issues of loving his son, but also struggling to care for him and provide. Additionally, my stepson has grown up knowing that he was unplanned and seeing his biological father suffer because of this. That's a lot to put on a child. I must have missed something up here. Oh, she said here, I missed this part, sorry. My husband has 2 kids from a previous relationship. Both were, quote, surprises with women who, quote, forgot to take their birth control. One openly admitted it after the fact that she intentionally did it to save his life because she had mental issues and addiction problems when they were dating. So now a kid or 2 kids were born to mothers that had issues, but they thought that was going to patch the relationship. She says, my husband has been forced to pay child support for a boy that the mother has kept from him for over 10 years now, and the court system doesn't care. They ruled that if he wanted them to intervene, he would have to take weekly counseling sessions with the mother for an allotted period of months while paying for not only his own counseling bill, but hers as well. This is all required before he can maybe even have them grant him the legal right to get to his son to visit, whether the mother likes it or not. They say these financial woes are related to an outdated court system that assumes the mother is always right and the father is a deadbeat, period. End of statement. And we know this. We know this. She says, in addition, child support payments increase if a man's income does, but they can never go down. This means that if my husband works his way up at his company, he must shell out more money for the children. But if he loses his job, he'd better find a way to make money fast, or he'll be faced with legal repercussions like having a lien put on him or even being sent to jail. She says, plenty of famous actors have dealt with this phenomenon. Brandon Fraser, Eddie Murphy, Tom Cruise. Actor Dave Foley opened up about his own personal struggles. His story alone displays how men are extorted for money by court systems and the women who accept these unjust rulings. I'm going to flip it over now because I don't need to read on. You guys get it. I'm going to flip over now to the Dave Foley video. Now I'm going to play this at 1.25 speed. Again, because hopefully YouTube shouldn't whack me for this. And if they do, I'll put in an argument that it's under fair use. We'll see. Let's listen to what Dave Foley has to say on the subject.
The family law system in Canada is horribly broken. And I'm not the only man who's been ordered to pay more than he earns or go to jail. Basically, the only way I can pay the child support that I'm ordered to is to have a weekly sitcom. I need to earn at least $1 million a year. You know, I have to pay $17,700 a month. But yeah, no, I was ordered by Canadian court to pay, like, what at that point was about 5 times my income every month.
Now, again, this has background music, so I'm not sure if that's going to get picked up or not. But he has to make $1 million a year just to pay his child support because he was doing, what was the name of the show? Something radio. I'm sure he'll say it. But he was doing a TV show at the time, a comedy. Joe Rogan, as a matter of fact, I think that was the first TV sitcom that Joe Rogan, that was the first time Joe Rogan was on TV. He was like the maintenance guy. And so he got told he had to pay the child support based off that income. Well, the sitcom ended, and he didn't make that money ever again. But he still was required to pay it for the next 18 years of his kid's life, even though he never got a similar job. It never goes down. As a matter of fact, Dave says in one of his videos, he actually had to leave Canada and cannot go back because if he does, he's going to be arrested and thrown in jail probably for the rest of his life.
Child support, which was based on my earnings when I was doing news radio.
News radio,
and
that's
I don't know if you've checked the listings. It hasn't been on for 12 years. The premise of the court system in Canada is that children should continue to live at the same standard of living that they were at the point of separation, no matter what. And which is patently insane, because if the marriage had stayed together and income dropped, the children's lifestyle would change with the parents. But the court system in Canada believes that because the family has split up, those children should never experience any change, ever. And it doesn't matter if the man isn't making money, he's still supposed to pay and keep them at that level, that lifestyle, no matter what. And if you don't earn money, the court's attitude is, well, earn more. Yeah, I live in a very, live in a small loft in downtown LA, and, and my family in Toronto lives in a $2.5 million house on a park. Yeah, and I also have another family in California that I'm also divorced from. So I have a second ex-wife and a daughter, and the court believes that they can just rot in hell. That's the Canadian court's opinion. Those two, they can rot in hell. They don't care. And you'd think I'd learn, Although I like being married. That's the problem. I really do like being married. No.
Yeah, you'd think he'd learn all right. But here's the point that he kind of gets to, right? His TV show ends, and this is one, again, my friend that ended up taking himself out because of child support and the stresses, and he couldn't see his kids and everything else. It was the same thing with him. When the income drops, they're living in a $2.5 million house in Canada that he paid for, and he still owes, I think he said, millions and millions of dollars in back owed child support. So he can't go to his home country, visit his family, see anyone in Canada. He can't cross the border into Canada or he'll get thrown in jail, period. And the Canada doesn't care that he has another family he needs to take care of in California, which is bad on him. You think he would have learned the first time. But I guarantee you, California also doesn't care that he has a family up in Canada. So he's getting nailed for child support in Canada that was based off his income when he was doing very well. Then he has another family here in California that he still probably needs to pay child support to. They don't care about the Canadian. The Canadian doesn't care. So they're literally bleeding this guy dry. And now he has a little studio apartment in California. Who knows how he affords that? It is put a lot of men literally in the ground where they've taken themselves out. So, guys, this is the one thing I do want you to remember. A lot of time, girls are gonna say what they want to say, especially, oh, he's hot and I'm all hot and bothered right now, and it turns me on for him to finish inside or whatever. Don't do it. Do not do it, even if she says she's on something. You know, when I was 35, I knew I wasn't going to have any kids because I didn't want to get into this whole, like, I didn't want to be tied to one woman for the rest of my life, even if I wanted kids. Now, I didn't want kids. I knew it's never been right for me because I'm too selfish with my time and travel, and, like, I want to live my life my way. So at 35, I got the snip. If I had been smart about it, I probably would have done it in my early 20s and just kept searching for a doctor that would do it. And as a matter of fact, until they come up with some other system where guys can protect themselves, like even wearing, a Jimmy hat is not 100%. So you got to be careful about this stuff. I'll share this with you. This is from a video here on YouTube, making an engagement ring for my fiance, and it had 5.1 million views. This is from Alec Steele, and he went through and he made this 6-minute video of him making her a custom ring. And then it says from 2 weeks ago, a pinned comment, deleting because the bee said no. She said no to him, 51,000 likes. So even though a guy, again, thought it was the right girl, he went ahead and made a custom ring for her to show his love. Wasn't good enough. She broke up with him. You got to love it. I mean, you got to love it. All right, let's do a dating profile today. All righty then. This, I forgot to blur out her name. Oopsie doopsie. Anyway, this photo is 50% her face and 50% cleavage.
Classic move. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 31 years old. She's a human resources recruitment administrator. I never would have thought I'd say this, but that in and of itself is a red flag now. All right, guys, let's see how beautiful and romantic and desirable she is. Looking for someone to put up with my crap. And keep me in weekends and go do adult things like climb mountains and stuff. So now she wants you to put up with her crap and to keep her in on weekends. Because I guess maybe she wants to go out and party all the time. I got news for you. If she says, you know what, I'm a club girl, but I want a boyfriend so I can stay home, she belongs to the streets, and she's going to be going right back out to those clubs probably a month or two after you start dating. And it's just with the girlfriends, Next thing you know, she's getting folded like origami, and Chad is leaving a deposit. She says, I want to do adult things like climb mountains and stuff. Okay, you got to kind of be in shape for that, I'm just saying. She says, it's time for me to settle down if there is actually anyone decent left out there. It's time for me to settle down, guys. I'm 31. And she says here, I didn't read this part yet. I have an 8-year-old daughter who will always come first. Well, why is it time she needs to settle down? I mean, it's time for me to settle down, guys. Why? She's 31. She's got an 8-year-old daughter. And she's probably not getting the pump and dump guys at the clubs that want to date her anymore because there's younger and prettier and probably thinner. She says she's a Gemini. That's it. Warning sign right there. Gemini, big warning sign. Anything with the stars and the astrology and all, get away. Astronomy, astrology. She says, I'm a big-time texter. Well, that means that she's going to be texting with everybody and anybody, even when you're together and hanging out. So there's probably going to be another guy on the end of the line there. Her other passions are gin. So she likes alcohol as a passion. She's socially active. Again, another big warning sign. She says she works out occasionally.
Oh, wait, you serious?
And she's a smoker when she's drinking, which I have a feeling is a lot based on how much she likes to party. So, the last couple of videos I did, I was talking about if guys want to actually date. And, I know a lot of you guys are going to give me a hard time for those videos, but Look, the only thing you can really do about yourself is improve your personality, improve your financial status, and hit the gym. And if it takes you to improve your financial status to get any luck in dating, you're dating the wrong kind of women. But I'll tell you, the dating apps are not it for guys. These women have grocery lists. They're picky. They're specific. And the amazing thing to me is that in reality, a woman on a dating app that's a 5 feels that she's too good for 7s and 8s because she's had a guy from a dating app, bend her over and ride her into the sunset by an 8 or a 9 or a 10 just because he wanted to get his rocks off. And so that's her new normal. Dating apps are done. Trust me, fellas, on that one. Guys, if you'd like to support my work, links are below as always. If you have, thank you very much. And thank you for those of you that have reached out and donated either on betterbachelor.locals.com or PayPal. I don't have a way really easily to reply on PayPal, but a lot of you guys send me messages, and a lot of you guys share your love that way, and I really appreciate that. It goes a long way. It did wonders for me taking care of my family and my father during his illness, and I do really appreciate it. Best way you can support me is like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out my links down below. Check out my older videos. Join me over on betterbachelor.locals.com, where you can become a supporter and get like free one-off videos, and I talk politics, and I talk a bunch of stuff over there that I can't hear on YouTube. I just did a 2-hour video over there today on the jab and what I think of it. And I will leave it there till next time. So, guys, remember, you're going to have to take control of the situation. You're going to have to look out for yourself. You're not going to be able to believe her if she says, go ahead, blast away, I'm on the pill. Nope, no more. If all the guys took responsibility for it, the problem would be over overnight. And I know guys say, well, yeah, but it's really her. Look, I understand it's her responsibility, or at least half of her responsibility. But right now, women are taking 0 responsibility, which means men are the ones that have to take all the responsibility. And I understand if you're not dating and you're going kind of monk and you're not doing that you're taking responsibility. I get that, and I think that's a good thing. But just be aware that for those of you still in the market, you got to be careful, because otherwise they're going to trip you up and get you in trouble, and that's 18 years of headache you don't want.